patience. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith, what? What does it do? Worketh patience, steadfastness, perseverance. He said, but let what? Let patience, steadfastness, and perseverance have her perfect work. Let patience work in you. Let your patience in your fight against the work of the enemy have its perfect work. Because remember, like I told you the last time, when you want to change your structure of your body, whether you're going on a diet or if you're going into the gym, you have to do what is necessary on a constant basis. You don't go on a diet and say, well, today I'm going to, eat a little less calories, and then tomorrow I'm going to blast it off and have a good time again, and then in a couple of days. No, you have what? A consistent pattern that you go. When a person goes to the gym and say, okay, I want to beef up, I want to slim down, I want to, to get definition or formation of my body, you go and you go and you go and you go. And you don't do just one curl, one bench press, one squat. No, you go and you do a round of it. You come back, you change it, go to a different part of the body and work it. Then you come back and you do your squat again. You go and you do something else. And you come back and you do, So it's a constant pattern. So here's what he says now. But let patience have her perfect work. Let your faith in God become an active ingredient in your desire to achieve God's purpose and plan for your life. Let it work in you. Let it work in you. The trials are coming. And the devil is coming, man. And he's coming and he's trying to right hook and a left hook, and he's coming and he's swinging all over the place. And you're going to be able to bob and weave and say, no, not this time, boom. You're blocking it off, and you get yourself ready. You're letting him wear himself out. You let him wear himself out. Let him wear himself out. And as he wears himself out, you hold on to your most holy faith. Here's what he goes now, he says, but let patience have her what? Perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Now, I'm going to break this down for you, but here I want to read this particular verse out of the NIV version, so you can kind of get a understanding. Some of you have it, so you would see it. He says, let perseverance, that's what patience is, right? Perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work. Let it work in you. You got to persevere. You got to keep on striving. You got to keep on fighting, as Paul told Timothy. Fight the good fight of faith, or as Jude said, contend for the faith. You get in that ring with the devil and he's coming against you, man, you gotta stand up on the fact that you're a child of God and that God has ordained you to be a particular useful vessel for the kingdom, and you're gonna be there fighting back and not let the devil knock you out. Fight the good fight of faith. Contend for the faith. He says, I'm going to read it again out of the NIV. Let patience finish its work, so that you may be mature. That word there, perfect, means mature. We say, God says, be perfect as I am perfect. The word there means mature. Doesn't mean that you're equal to God in your perfection, but you're maturing day by day in your Christian walk. So he says, let perseverance finish its work, so that ye may be mature. And it says in the King James, perfect and entire. He said mature and complete in the NIV. Lacking nothing.
The book, A Song for Zipporah, written by David Harris, is a powerful historical fiction centering around the life and character of Moses' future wife Zipporah before they met. Book author David Harris brings the reader into the relationship between Moses and Zipporah, which was gradual and lush. The story unfolds beautifully when Moses finally asks Zipporah to marry him. Purchase your copy of the book detailing this authentic story, A Song for Zipporah by David Harris today. It's available online at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com.
If it ain't one thing, it's another. So when the another comes, now you dealing with this. Not realizing that the Lord just delivered you out of that one thing. Because after you get out of this one, it's going to be another one. Hallelujah. And 2 or 3 years later, you look back and wonder how I got over. Hallelujah.
Talk about all our mistakes. Everything made us great. No judgment on the path. Gotta make us glad. Welcome to Japan Show. The world must know. You're welcome to Japan Show.
Hey, welcome to the Japrince Show. I'm your host, Japrince, and today we are talking about breast cancer. So many people are being faced with breast cancer at this hour, so please check this out.
Breast cancer is complicated and presents in unique ways in very different people. I want to give you a brief overview of how often breast cancer occurs, who might be at risk, and generally how it's treated. And I'm also going to share with you some cutting-edge advances in breast cancer care. In this lesson, I'm going to tell you what breast cancer means and your chance of getting it. I'm going to tell you how it's generally treated and when to start getting screening mammograms. I'm also going to give you some suggestions about how to reduce your lifetime risk of developing breast cancer. So let's get started. So what is breast cancer? Well, 80% of things we call breast cancer are called an invasive breast cancer. So the way to think about it, an abnormal growth in your breast. These are cells that are growing abnormally fast, and when they have invasive capabilities, invasive breast cancer, some of the cells can leave the tumor, go to the lymph nodes, or go to other places in your body. That's when breast cancer can threaten your life. Now on the good side, we cure about 90% of all women with breast cancer. So the treatment is good, the threat is real, and what we call breast cancer is generally invasive breast cancer. The other 20%, it's listed as stage 0 breast cancer. But what does stage 0 mean? Stage 0 breast cancer, called DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ. It's 20% of what we call a breast cancer. The way to think about that, it is more of a precancerous change in the breast. Cells in the breast that are working their way to become invasive that can spread elsewhere, but they haven't gotten there yet. And so when we do find DCIS, we take it out to prevent that process of DCIS to evolve into invasive breast cancer. Hardly anyone dies of DCIS. So invasive breast cancer is the one that we talk about the most. So what is my chance of getting breast cancer, and am I at high risk? Well, if you're a woman, you're at a higher risk than men for getting breast cancer. And in women, there's about a lifetime risk of 10% of getting breast cancer, give or take a percentage point or two. If you are a man, you can still get breast cancer, and we treat it very similar to women, but it's extremely rare, but it's something to keep in mind. A trend in breast cancer is identifying women who are at an increased lifetime risk of breast cancer. So let's say we identify a woman who has dense breast or a strong family history or carries the breast cancer gene or other high-risk factors. We can identify them as being a 20% or 30% or an 80% lifetime risk of developing breast cancer. And when we are successful in identifying those women, then we can manage them in a way to offset some of the risk of breast cancer in their lives. How is breast cancer treated? Luckily, The vast majority of women diagnosed with breast cancer have early stage breast cancer where their tumor is small and there's likely no cancer in the lymph nodes, and if so, just a little bit. So in most of these situations, surgery comes first as the first treatment. But let me give you an example. Let's say a woman comes in, she has a 1 centimeter breast cancer. The usual process is this. Get a biopsy, determine it's cancer after having a mammogram. Visit with your surgeon. Typically going to surgery first to remove the cancer and check a couple lymph nodes. Then going to visit a medical oncologist to determine whether or not there's a benefit or not from chemotherapy. Most don't need chemotherapy. And if that's not the case, then they can go and visit with a radiation oncologist. If they've had a lumpectomy, they might need radiation to that breast to lessen the chance anything grows back in the future. And then about 80% of women will benefit after radiation of taking hormonal therapy, estrogen blocking medications. So breast cancer treatment is one of the most complicated decision processes in all of healthcare. And that's why you will get the best cancer outcomes and best treatment when you have a team of breast cancer specialists